Welcome to The Tax Lawyer here on the Legal Broadcast Network. I'm Scott Drake with my guest Robert W. Wood with Wood LLP in San Francisco. Today we're talking about how to deduct, information regarding deducting a hobby with regards to the IRS. Rob, welcome back.
Thanks, Scott.
This is a Forbes article that you've written, and the example that you use is an attorney who is doing some consulting work. He's not making much income from it, but he is taking some rather large deductions.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many of these cases. This was a recent one I found amusing. Lots of foreign travel sounds kind of like vacation to me. But as you say, when you use the word hobby, as we do here in this context, there's a particular spin on it that you almost predict the outcome of the case. If you're spending a lot of money, whether it's on dog breeding, on travel, on anything, stamp collecting, whatever it is, the likelihood of deducting losses against other income is, I think, tougher and tougher. And but people do it. People have these tax cases every year. There are fishing cases. There are yachting cases. I mean, you name it, people want to claim it. So I list some suggestions here about how to convert something from a hobby to a business.
And I think one of the things that you talk about here is if it's not a hobby and this is something you're going to deduct some expenses from, it probably should have some income, right?
Yeah, that would certainly be ideal. I mean, the interesting thing, when I sound like I'm trying to convince everyone not to try this. But I mean, there are industries, and there are some sort of famous examples where people have loss after loss after loss for many years, and then they hit it big. Horse racing is a good example, and not surprisingly, horse activities, whether it's breeding or racing or jumping, those kinds of activities, they're expensive. They lead often into these kinds of cases, but you could have a profit motive and be doing a horse farm for profit, even if you have losses 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years in a row. It's all a factual matter, and that's why some of these suggestions about things that you should or shouldn't do may help people.
Let's use another example, maybe somebody who is, for example, a day trader. That, for a while there, that was, a common way to employ yourself that didn't work out very well, and you could see years and years and years of losses. How does the IRS look at someone like that?
Yeah, I mean, the burden is on you to show that you in fact did have a profit motive. I think in the case of a day trader, and you're right, there were a lot, and there are a bunch of cases, in fact. If you sort of Google the term day trader and taxes, I think you'll find a lot. I think the IRS has got some releases on this on their website. I think there, and we get into the distinction between investment activity and business, because just because we're talking about deducting something doesn't mean it might not be for investment. You could have an activity that would be investment related that leads to losses. And I think it's easier to justify investment losses, generally speaking, than it is to justify business losses. I think the trick with a hobby, or something that the IRS might say is a hobby, is simply that go back to your point, Scott. You have no income from it often, or not any net income, and you have these other elements like enjoyment, and you do it on your own time. You do it on weekends, and I think there are all these things, typically very informal, not good business records. There are all these things that are kind of bad signs that make the IRS think that you're really not engaged in a business.
And some of the points that you make in your article, once again in Forbes, entitled Lawyers International Consulting a Hobby, says the tax court, things like keeping good records are pretty intuitive, but as you've sort of hinted at here, you don't want to enjoy this too much. A lot of recreation, deductions can be a red flag for the IRS, things like that, but you have to make some profits 3 out of 5 years probably.
Yeah, that's right. And you're right. As Scott, as you just said, there are some presumptions. 3 out of 5. There's another one for horse activities. They give you a longer period of time, 7 years. But if you should ask yourself, even though you could theoretically have a business where you lost money 9 years in a row and then you made it the 10th year, you became Apple Computer or something. But that's pretty rare, and obviously if you have loss after loss after loss, the IRS is going to expect you to make a pretty good case that you are really in a business. So, as you said, Scott, acting professionally, keeping good records, hiring consultants, sort of doing all the things that businesses do, rightly or wrongly, will make you look less recreational in sort of in scope and more businesslike.
All right, Rob, good stuff. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You can find Rob in a lot of different places. He writes regularly in Forbes, and when I say regularly, I mean almost daily. You can find him at woodllp.com, here on the Legal Broadcast Network, and taxlawchannel.com. I'm Scott Drake. Thanks for watching.